Pushkin.
Without further ado, Justin Richmond and Wyclef Jean. Come on out. Come on out. Yes. Yes. Welcome. You know. Please. Where you are? Okay. Yeah. You're in charge, boss man. All right.
Man, I'm so happy you're here.
I'm honored to be with y'all.
Yeah, right. That's right. This is James Bird. We got James. I remember one time we did an interview, 2019, and we were talking about something, and you were like, you know, it'd be easier if I just showed you. And I was like, well, we don't got a guitar. We got up, we walked around this office building, every damn room, till we found the most busted guitar, missing a string, wouldn't stay in tune. You tuned that thing up, it was a miracle. I don't know how you tuned that thing up and played it like, like Bill Withers, Jimi Hendrix combined. It was like the craziest thing. And that's when I realized, I mean, I always knew you were a great songwriter, great vocalist, great producer, but I was like, wow, Wyclef is a player, man. Like Wyclef is a musician, a player. And not a player in that way, but I mean, a music player, you know what I mean? Maybe.
Not a player no more.
But you really are an incredible musician, and you know, not everyone can just do that on a, you know, just go find a random beat up, bust a guitar with a missing string and play it, you know.
What did you play that day? Do you remember?
I just tuned the guitar and then I just started just playing, you know, playing chords, playing perfect fifths, and just having fun, yeah. But for me, like instruments, it started for me like in Haiti, I would say. I left. There's always one Haitian somewhere. So, right. So that's sort of like
flag. We love that.
You see the flag, yeah. But you know, I say like it starts for me in that small, tiny village, man.
How old were you when you first began to play?
I was like 4. Like my aunt will tell you, like my first song was "To My Stray Dogs." It's probably the worst song I ever wrote, but...
Well, tell us, you got to tell us
I'll tell you the song, it's terrible. So what happened though was, I used to, in this village, like stray dogs would constantly come and I would feed them. And then one day it was Mardi Gras, Carnival. And then so I put a bunch of tar on me.
Tar?
And like tar, like
black tar?
Yeah.
You gave yourself black
Yeah, so I was like, and then I put a bunch of like rags and then just creating an outfit for Carnival, right?
Okay.
And then I'm out there, and then the dogs see me, and they literally all come to attack me because they couldn't recognize me. And then when they jumped on me, and I was like, "Kolebo, kolebo, 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 kolebo," and then they all just started licking me. So my aunt was like, "That's his first song, the worst song I've ever wrote, but
that sounded nice.
Saved my life."
What did it mean?
It was just a tone, right? Because the music is built from vibration. So lyrics are what we put afterwards. We just feel an expression. You know what I'm saying? Before words, it's an expression.
So interesting then. You're saying that the lyrics come afterwards. When you're writing a song, are you thinking melody first or are you thinking lyrics first?
It comes melody at times. Mostly melodies.
Yeah.
Rap wise though, because I was a battle rapper. That's how I learned how to speak English. Words was fierce. You know what I mean? So I would write raps depending on who I'm about to battle. That's how I would write my schemes. But when it came to like songwriting, it all came from the church. So I would just hear melodies first.
Huh.
Yeah.
What kind of church?
So my dad grew up in Haiti. When he came to Brooklyn, it's a Church of the Nazarene. So it's like Pentecostal. It's literally like club church. You know what I'm saying? Like if you miss the club, come to our church on Sunday, you're gonna get that same energy.
It's incredible to say, but it's been 30 years since The Score, which is
Snaps
me
for The Score.
One of the foundational albums of. This is gonna be like maybe blasphemous to certain people, but for me, when I think about The Score, I think about it like it's like hip hop's Abbey Road in the sense of there's great music, there's great rock music after Abbey Road, But it could have stopped there and we would have been fine. You know what I mean? And as much hip hop came after the score that I love, and I love a lot of it, if we would have just stopped right there at the score, we was good. That was it. I mean, incredible. And much like the Beatles too, the sum of all those parts, man, incredible. But I want to play something real quick. Because your first album, Blunted on Reality, you guys put it out, and to your point of being a battle rapper, it was very, for the people who know out there, maybe this makes sense, maybe it doesn't, very Fushnikins in a way. It was heavy on the underground, heavy on the boom bap, heavy on the dope rhyme schemes. And it did okay.
You're kind. It sold 2 copies.
Okay. I didn't want to say it. But then Salaam Remi did the Nappy Heads remix. And I want to play a bit of that real quick. And this became a hit for you guys.
Yo, Mona Lisa, could I get a date on Friday? And if you're busy, I wouldn't mind taking Saturday. Hey. Round up the posse Fuji coming around the way. Yeah, you're nappy head.
Oh, what's up?
What you got there?
I got some of that lyrical cheaper.
A cheaper, y'all. Well, I'm a Libra, y'all. A cheaper, y'all. Well, I'm a Libra, y'all. You on a battle swing, I bring commanding men like I was king. In all your dreams, I write the horror flick of Stephen King. Cling the faults on those in favor, say I got tired of the fat lady, so I sing to my own opera. Balang to the man in Rikers Island. If you live by the sword, you go fi die by the gun. Cause all guys tell lies and all girls commit sins. I was ordered the code red, but now I'm chilling with a few good men. Assassination on the kid from the capital. I never played a soap opera, but now I'm in General Hospital. Condition critical.
And this is the first time, clap for that's Nappy Heads remix. Fugees.
Also,
Salaam
bring
Remi.
back the 90s. Bring back the 90s. I miss
Absolutely.
it so. I miss the
Absolutely.
90s.
But that, to me, when you listen to the Fugees in order, like that's the first time it sounded like you guys figured the sound out. Like that sounds like that sounds like the genesis of the score. And I never put it together until I listened to Blunted in Reality, Nappy Heads remix, and then the score back to back to do this. Because it sounded, at the time, it just sounded like the score came out, fully formed, everyone immediately loved it. And it's like, where did this come from? And I was wondering, did working with Salaam Remi on this Nappy Heads remix, did that unlock something for the three of you guys creatively?
Yeah, so I think the first part about it is, so growing up in Jersey, we was raised with Kool and the Gang. So the first Fuji album was produced by Khalees Bayan from Kool and the Gang. So he's like the wizard. He did Jungle Boogie and everything. So at a very early age, I think I was like 15, 16. So hanging around Khalees took me in as like a son. I was a jazz major in school, so he took me in and he was like Mr. Miyagi. So he would quiz me and give me all these chops. So in the process, Khalees was responsible for producing Blunted on Reality. So what happens is there was a sound out there. So Khalees was like, okay, I know they can rap, but we're gonna get them in that sound. The best way to explain my relationship with Salaam Remi, it's like Ray Charles and Quincy Jones. Because it's like, I already had everything in my head, but I'm real young and I'm doing beats quietly. So like when I would go to Salaam, I would share with Salaam like what I'm doing. He would share with me. I actually went to see Salaam first, and then I brought Lauren and Praz over. Huh. So we had an idea of in my head like what I wanted to do, but it's like Kool and the Gang. What are you gonna say? You're gonna shut up and you're gonna like eat the L and figure it out. So they had a big studio in West Orange. So every time we record, then I go back to the hood. When I go back to East Orange, what was being recorded in the hills was not sounding like what was coming out of the trunks. So in the trunks, me and Jerry Wonder in the Booker Basement, we was literally doing what was coming out of the trunks. And this is one last part that you had to know. So I didn't want to sell dope. So I was like, yo, I got to figure out a hustle because the Burger King wasn't working too well for me, right? So what I did was like, I was like, well, everybody on the block, they rapping. So if we become our own versions of Dr. Dre, then we don't have to sell dope. We can just charge them to do records. So in this concept, we literally just started developing a pulse within that vibe. So when we all went to see Salam, the first thing Salam was like, y'all too talented. Like y'all over talented, right? Because in this industry,
you
gotta keep it stupid. Like 1 + 1 gotta equal 2. We gotta do some knucklehead shit.
Did they throw out some ideas that they thought were too talented? Did they say
he just felt like, because this group, I mean, I play 14 instruments. You know, I'm a jazz head. I was scoring like off-Broadway stuff. Lauren was heading to Sister Act 2. Mm-hmm. She just crushed the Apollo. So there was a lot. It was like, yo, how do you break that? Because you see in the industry, it's harder to break sophisticated talent, right? You see because when you have talent that don't care about fame, but care about artistry and will not compromise, it's like hard. You be like, okay, what's the middle? Yeah. And so it was like a Beat Street movie. So Salam put on the beat and he was like, yo, just go in the booth. And literally, now I'm about to see a different style of production. So he puts on the snappy head beats and I go in the booth first. And Salam has a tape where we rapping for 20 minutes straight. So Salam, you listening to this, you got to drop this for the 30th year anniversary.
Yeah.
And this wizard, Salam, literally, so we left to go to Europe. He went back and then he cut
the 20 minutes into
He cut the 20 minutes into literally 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And then the minute he did the math, something happened in my head too. And I said, oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah. Can I ask you a follow-up on this song? So it opens with you singing Mona Lisa. That melody, that little ditty, that motif ends up in an R&B ballad that you make for your solo album, The Carnival, with the Neville Brothers.
Yes.
I'm very interested in understanding how you take a motif like that Mona Lisa riff and have it work for a rap song with Salam Remy producing and also an R&B slow jam with the Neville Brothers.
Should we play the Carnival version of Mona Lisa real quick, just so people can hear what Sam's talking about?
One of the greatest love songs.
This is, by the way, and just for context, 1 year, I want to talk about this too, 1 year after the score, recorded on tour, you know, promoting the score on tour.
Yeah.
Let's hear this.
Friday, and if you're busy, I wouldn't mind taking Saturday. Right about now, if you and your Jeep.
You gotta hear the Nevilles on this though, hold up.
If you don't have a Jeep, you have a little hoopty, I still want you to crank up your volume. We want all the ladies to sit back, relax, let your hair out. Wyclef presents the Neville Brothers in the house tonight.
I know a girl, she ruled my world.
Incredible.
Whatever I need.
I
And
did a
you
party.
take that same riff and make it work in both.
I did a party foul. I'll cut the top off a little bit, but it does
Play
have
the
that
top.
Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa
But we heard
at the
Aaron
top.
Neville, so it's all good, you know.
How do you, so like,
Aaron Neville's
when you're
good.
doing that, how does your mind say, how does your mind know, well, this one little riff, it'll be two different songs that are very different. Like, walk me through that.
Yeah, I would say the best way to understand that is in high school at 15 years old, my music teacher walks in and I'm playing piano.
Yeah.
And I'm doing circle of fifths.
Yeah.
And she's like, where do you learn that from? And I was like, oh, I just play every day in church. And she was like, close your eyes, what do you see? And then I said, well, on the right side of my eye, I see 1, 3, 5. And on the left side, I see 1, 5. So I haven't read music, I didn't understand theory. So she was like, tomorrow you're gonna start jazz. And I was like, nah, jazz ain't for me, it's for old people. And I said, I'm gonna be a battle rapper like LL Cool J, I got this thing figured out. And then she was like, you could do both, right? So now, once I got into jazz and classical music.
Because you were seeing scale degrees, the 1, 3, 5 and the 1, 5.
Yeah, so
you're seeing scale
1, 3,
degrees
5
on
is a
that.
triad. All right, 1, 3, 5, and then the 1, 5 in the left hand.
Yeah.
So
The numbers are the notes of a scale.
Yeah, it's
All
like
the way up to 8. That's
yeah.
8 notes
and it's
of a
like
scale.
perfect harmony, right?
Yes.
That's the happy 1, 3. It's perfect. So I was a happy baby. So in saying that, so I fell in love with a few composers: Gershwin, Cab Calloway, Quincy Jones, Louis Armstrong. Now, what did I get from that? So when you hear "Yo Mona Lisa, can I get?" It's like, so let's go. There I go, there I go, there I go, blah, blah, right? So in my brain, when I do a composition,
Yeah.
long before the AI, it was I have literally 7 different versions in my brain
Of what this thing could be.
of what it is, right? So it's like at the end of the day, I could do a song and I can hear it in a ballad form. And then I can hear it in a house form, or I could hear it in a reggae form. So all that time when I was hearing, I was like, man, I'm obsessed with the Meters. I was obsessed with Aaron Ever. I was like, man, if I could get these guys, that would be the R&B version of Mona Lisa.
Would there ever be another version of Mona Lisa today that you made? And if so, what would it be?
I don't know, man. I think Burna Boy did a version of Mona Lisa. It's his generation now.
Yeah.
Going back real quick to that Salam Remy story. So you learned. So you when you heard that cut down version of Nappy Head's remix, were you instantly knew, you weren't upset. You knew this is what we need to be doing. Like this is the right. Like he heard the magic. He cut it to the right parts, and this is what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I understood the math, right? So, like my brain, like it's like infinite math. So, but 1 + 1 = 2. Like he just taught me. Salam taught me, like, all right, if you're not gonna be in Carnegie Hall every week with your instruments sitting amongst the orchestra, and you want to be in the music business, this is how it go. You got to figure it out. Because Quincy Jones was doing the Sinatra and all of that, but then he figured out how to do the other things. So once Salam did that, my eyes opened up.
So then I know you got from the label, you got a bit of an advance, you buy a bunch of equipment, you put it in the basement, the booger basement, as you call it, the studio. And what's the first thing you make then because you produced all but 2 songs on the score. So what's the first thing you do for that album?
Okay, so the equipment, we got it from a garage sale.
Really?
So, yeah,
the
it was-
equipment that was used for all of the score.
Okay, yeah, so everything you hear from the score, me, my cousin, Jerry, and my other cousin, you know, he funded us. He was like the chef, so he had a higher up job, and he funded us. So I only tell you this so you understand how my brain works. So we went to a garage sale, music store. Now, for my nerds that are watching this, let's just run through 3 things, which is important. We bought a 4, 5, 6 Ampex reel, big tape machine. So like when you be seeing the Freddie Mercury and then they cut tapes for the backgrounds, it was very important. The tape machine, you got 24 tracks, right? The 24th is the SMPTE. That's where the noise come in, and you try to stay away from that. That was one. A second thing we bought was an old MCI board. Shout out to Warren Riker, one of the engineers. And this old MCI board just sounded warm. And then we just built a bunch of patch bays around that. Again, we did this ourselves. Like the way Steve Jobs was doing what was in his garage.
Yeah.
It was like, why go to pay $1 million for a Neve board or an SSL when the soul is inside of your brain, inside of your heart, right? So we just figured it out. So in saying that, that was the mystery. So we did the score inside of that basement. And you have to imagine, this is 30-something years ago. This is 30 years ago dating today. So now a child like my daughter or my niece, they literally can just pop their computer and do music right from wherever they at around the world. So I just say that to show you how advanced and how far ahead we were when it came to the technology.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing you make with all that? You get the patch base set up, you got everything together. What's one of the first things, at least that made the album, that you do?
I would say, like, along with that, I was obsessed with Pink Floyd, The Wall. So I needed something that had space in it. You know what I'm saying? So one of the early joints was The Mask. Have you ever worn the mask? And this is long before COVID. Like, rappers have a way of saying shit, and then years later, they're gonna be like, he was Nostradamus.
You called it.
The Mask was one of the early ones because of I don't know if it was like the jazz influence and everything. It was pretty amazing. shout out to John Forte, who we passed.
R.I.P.,
He passed away.
yeah.
He was like, you know, one of the architects with the score. Like I would say, like the score, it was like the best of like Motown, Stax Band. We just used to horn in, and people always talk about. So we were the refugees, and then on the other side of town, we had the outsiders, and then so you had two different cliques. The outsiders, Eminem was part of the outsiders. Then Akon was part of the refugees. So when you hear
Really?
Fuji La, the remix, that's Akon.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, am I?
Whoa.
I'm giving
You're
y'all
blowing my
trivia.
mind.
Y'all done know everything, man. Am I breaking trivia? Yeah. So Akon is like my little brother. So we was working on the score. Akon used to come around and be like, "Yo, man, listen to this. And he would be playing his music for me. But we're touring. And I was like, so before we finished the score, I was like, yo, the score cannot finish without putting this kid on it. And then so now when you hear the Fuji La remix, Ooh La La, now when you go back and listen, that's Akon on that. So
Stop
I only
it.
say
That's
that. So we
incredible.
said that Akon, and then Eminem and them, they crew. Eminem was part of the Outsiders. Then when Eminem had left the Outsiders, he went to Detroit to do what he's doing. When we did the score, we brought in the Outsiders. So we wanted to show that unity. So on the song Cowboys, it's like the refugees and the outsiders like getting all together, you know, John Forte and everybody. So it was pretty, so there's a whole cool background with the history.
I just keep thinking about all of the names that you're dropping in your incredible record of collaboration. You know, Salam Remy, the Neville Brothers, Akon, Shakira, Whitney Houston,
Destiny's
Santana,
Child.
Destiny's Child. When you are deciding who to collaborate with or fielding requests for collaboration, what is your North Star in deciding who to make music with? Because you have a pretty good track record.
Yeah, no, thanks. I think that for me, I don't even think of it like a collaboration. I've always thought of it like how I could compose something for someone. So like, for example, like you hear Shakira, Hips Don't Lie, but I did that
Everybody heard that song.
Yeah, but I did that 2 years before Shakira. It was on a movie called Havana Nights, Dance Like This. So a lot of what I do is always based on the mind of a composer. Now, when I write these records, I never think of myself. Because like if for me, when I'm doing my music, I just think too deep. You know what I mean? I'd be like, if I was president, I'll get elected on Friday. They'd be like, that shit ain't gonna play on the radio. But when it comes to artists, I'm always a fan. And then I would demo the record. And that's how I end up staying on a lot of that stuff.
How do you know when to say no to a collab?
Well, the thing is, I always say I have to be able to give something back to the artist, right? And it's deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? I was touched the other day when I received some flowers from Beyonce, you know? And then she was like, yo.
I mean, they kind of like Destiny's Child popped off because of you and that remix.
But it was ill because as a composer and be understanding that, like I would perform, then I brought them on tour with me, but she would always be on the side of the stage, again, right, watching, the same way I would watch the next person. So, right, so it has to be bigger than a collaboration. I've touched people that I felt have got next. Like, remember, I said they went from a dream to the Young Supremes. That was pretty amazing. Most intimidating person that I ever been in the studio
Tell
with.
me.
Like, dog, my boots was shaking. Whitney Houston.
Wait, I wanted to ask you about that because I personally think that one of her best songs is My Love Is Your Love.
Yeah, man. But
I love it so much. Tell me why. Was she intimidating?
I ain't gonna hold you because it's like, dog, like we in the hood in high school. You feel what I'm saying to you? And we a bunch of bad kids and we like, I believe the children are you know what I'm saying to you? Yo, it's like, and I'm like, oh, like, you know, Mrs. Whitney, like, it was just.
Was she cool in the studio?
She was amazing. She was, you know, so Clive hit me and I'm like, you know, he's like, yo,
Clive Davis.
Clive Davis, the record for Whitney. And, you know, as a church boy.
She's a church girl.
That's right. And Whitney was going through something at the time. And then, so you just said, how do you know who to collaborate with? So I'm over here and I'm writing this record. If tomorrow is Judgment Day, so I was like, I'm going to write a love note. You know what I mean? Like to God. And then so Whitney's writing a love note to God. It's almost like she's
That's
in
beautiful.
the gates. And then so I send a demo and I'm like waiting. You feel what I'm saying to you? And finally you get the call and then, you know what I mean? And then she's like, you know, I don't like it. You know?
Whitney called you and said, I don't like this
I
demo?
don't like it. I love it.
Oh.
Right? So me and Jerry Wonder.
My heart dropped for you. I was
It's like, oh my God.
I hate the song. No. I loved it. So in saying that, to me, that was like, you know what I'm saying? Like someone like you just idolize. That was probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. But what was it? So, I can't just bring a Whitney in there. Hold up. So what is it when you're in the studio with Whitney? How do you approach that? Because like the idea of telling Whitney, yeah, let's do it this way maybe, or let's try. Like how do you even, you know, as a layperson, how do you even think to do that? How do you approach it?
Yeah, I think like so with Whitney, we like, you know, it was like brother and sister in the studio, and I'm the choir director. So I know who's going to sing the lead, the soprano, so we have that
So the church
code.
just gave you that
So we had that
connection.
church code connection, right? Where we rocked out. But here's a crazy story. Y'all might have heard it or y'all might not. So I'm doing this.
I like when you lean in.
I'm doing it, right? I'm doing this joint. And in the middle of the record, right? It sound like to me that Whitney dropped a note. It sounded flat to me.
You heard Whitney sounding flat.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I would die. I don't even know what I would do.
Do you just think that and say, I can't be right, she can't be flat?
Bro, listen.
What did you do?
I was like, in my ear, I heard something was off. And then, so you know, as a producer, this is where you have to make what I call the final call, right?
You got to tell them you're flat.
Literally, right? So, you know, I stopped everything, you know what I mean? And that's what I was telling you. Remember, I said my legs started shaking, cold sweat, you know what I'm saying? And she's on the other side, and I'm like, Miss Whitney Houston, you're going to have to do that one again. It came out a little flat.
What'd she say?
You saw how silent it was in here? Yo, shit got mad silent. Wow. And I was like, I'm fucked. And then she goes, baby, it's not flat. I bent the note.
That.
Bro, I went back and
she
I
had bent
listened
the
to the
note?
take, and her ear was so advanced that the way I was playing the major and minor, the same way like B.B. King would bend a note inside of it. So that literally, like till today, that was one of the things that just
Really?
blew my mind.
Yeah, Whitney's not flat.
Whitney was never flat.
I heard that she really cuts up in the studio. Like, she has fun. She's a jolly old time in the studio, I've heard.
You know, my experience was one of the best experiences because I had Whitney in the studio, I had Bobby, I had the daughter, I had all of them.
Bobby Christina,
So and Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
And then so in the studio, the illest moment for me was when Whitney was in the booth and she was singing.
Yeah.
And her daughter was on the other side with me.
Wow.
And then her daughter, while her mom is singing, her mom can't hear where she's going. And then she goes, sing
Saying
mama.
mommy, because that ends up in the track.
Yeah, and then so I just sampled it. Like I
Like-
sampled her daughter. Whitney ain't even hear that till the final version.
Wait, so you heard her daughter say, sing mommy.
Yeah, and I
in
said,
the
"Say it
booth.
Recording in the
again."
booth? Were you recording in the control room?
So I have the control room, but I still always have mics inside of my main room. But if you're in the control room, Whitney can't hear. But her daughter's cheerleading her mom.
Yeah.
And she's like, sing, mommy.
Yeah.
And then I go, wow, mom sing. I said, what you say? And she don't know she's being recorded. So I tapped my engineer. She goes, sing, mommy.
Yeah.
And then I saved that on a sample. And then later I went up and I did that. So that was pretty
Your
cool.
mind.
Yeah,
Your
that was
mind.
Pretty
I love
cool,
that.
yeah.
That's incredible. Looking back, you make the score, it's a huge hit. You're on the road, you're making the Carnival, and for whatever reason, I don't know, the group is sort of not holding. Looking back on it, how would you counsel yourself as Wyclef today to Wyclef back then in terms of how to be a member of the Fugees in that moment?
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, way before me, there was people that made the same mistakes as me. Like, you could read all about it. Like, it's very clear. Even if I was to go back into to speak to the younger Wyclef, the problem is you can't go back and speak to your younger self, right? What you do is within your present self, you're able to give a young one that you see that has that air and on the come up, and you're like, yo, man, listen. Now, these are a list of things that you should not do moving forward. But at the same time, you see, within the universe, when the vulnerability of artists and the honesty of artists, right? So these 30 years, there still was a healing process, right? Lauren's my sister. You know, her kids are like, I'm Uncle Wyclef. You feel what I'm saying to you? It's like to be in such amazing place of love, right? Sometimes it takes, because when you're young, right, and you have all these superhero powers, both of us, we got superhero powers. You don't understand the powers. As you get older, you start to understand them more and more and more. So I think, like, from a space of maturity, I couldn't go back. But what I do is all of the young, I call them superheroes, that are gifted, that I work with within the concept, I'm able to give them better advice.
Yeah. I always think about group dynamics and when a group knows when to try to keep making it work and to let it go and break up. And I always think of the Fugees story in comparison to the saga of Fleetwood Mac. Like, the Fugees had drama, and then they broke up. Fleetwood Mac had drama, and they just stuck together and made an album about it, and the drama and the breakups. How do you know in a creative, collaborative partnership if it's worth saying we're gonna stick through this and keep making art, or we gotta break?
I mean, I would say it's like two different psyches. Like Fleetwood Mac is a different psyche than we were.
Yeah, say more.
We grew up within different environments.
Yes.
And then our dramas were completely different than Fleetwood Mac's drama. So it's not even like where you get to the point. I don't know if y'all been watching 2025. You've seen the Fugees on tour.
Yeah.
And if you see us on stage, it's like old school Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to look at launch, know the past.
No look past, yeah.
Everyone knows the past. So, but what we do have and what we all have always been conscious of is, in order to move the universe forward, because we always was like, we're not going to be a group, we're going to be a movement. In order to be a movement, they got to be perfect harmony. So the day, like, we don't feel perfect harmony, then the superpowers leave, right? And then you're not able to create that thing, because you literally, like, yo, there's not a superpower there.
What does that feeling feel like, that knowledge feel like when you know the powers aren't, like, can you tell? How do you spot it? How do you feel it? I'm
able to tell now because we've healed. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we've healed, like, me and El, we good, like, everything is dope. So it's almost like Wolverine, like, you shed skin, and it's like when you're after the wound, and then after the sacrifice, right?
Wow.
And it happens, and I don't think people understand, like, we were like, I mean, kid stars. Like, even before you knew who we were, we already was like off Broadway doing a musical called Club 12. So just to start off like that, and for us to be over 30 years and to look like ourselves, still be pretty, bad, funny, sexy, and all that, that's not an easy job.
That ain't easy. Nah.
Yeah.
I'm struggling right now. I'm like,
and I bring it up. So I bring up this question of collaborating and knowing when to break and when to stay in it, because a lot of the folks here at this conference are audio creatives who are making all kinds of shows with people. And those formulations of these teams might change, and there are podcast breakups and makeups and shakeups. And it's like, I wonder if you have any advice for creatives who are working in partnership right now, you know, how to read the tea leaves, stay in it, or like know when to leave it. Like, what is Wyclef Jean's creative partnership advice?
Yeah.
Biggest piece of advice.
So my partnership advice, to all creatives is like this. It's better you do one thing.
Say
And
that again.
one thing, you'll be surprised how many people have only done one thing. And that one thing, you know, it turns into an iPhone. I'm just giving you an example. You know,
Yeah.
the one thing turns into Microsoft, right? You know, the one thing turns into the most amazing podcast.
Yeah.
What happens is once the synergy and the harmony is gone, you got to move on, because if you continue, then what you're thinking about is something that's for profit now, opposed to something that you created, because in the beginning you was just like, yo, I want to create a movement
Yes.
to move people.
Yes.
So I always say it's better that you do something, one thing, and you're amazed by it. And then synergy, don't lie, right? And if you don't feel that synergy, you got to keep it moving, baby.
Okay. So trust the vibes. Listen to the vibes.
Trust the vibes, man.
You know, there's also, you said, Sam gave this wonderful list of people you collaborated with. And you mentioned one person to me backstage who I didn't realize you had a whole project with, who also gave you some advice back 20 years ago
King of pop, man.
about where we are in today's future. So if you can tell what the King of Pop told you about 20 years ago and how you're moving with that today.
Yeah. So RP to the King of Pop.
Michael Jackson, by the way.
Yeah.
If you don't know, leave the room.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say again, sometimes like I be saying stuff and I be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't feel like a lot of people get what I be saying. You know what I'm saying to you? Because I be on another planet. And then so, see, they laughing. They're like, what is he talking about? So I'm in the studio with Michael.
As
And-
one does.
And Mike, you know, and then and Michael is like just real quick, you know what I'm saying? So it's like he's in the studio and it's like right? And he said, "Did you get that?" No. And he said, "The orchestra lives in your head."
The orchestra lives in your head.
And as long as you can take what's in your head, you don't even have to say it. You can think it. And the machine will spit it back to you. You
Okay,
know,
Michael.
You know, Clef, I'm working on this other album. It's called binaural. You ever heard of binaural? No. He's like, yo, as we move towards the future, people will be able to hear music like it sounds like it's coming from a theater. But it'll be like movie music, but they'll be able to hear it from their headphones. Fast forward today. Where we at today, you have AI, right? And so the thing about it is, you know, backstage, you know, you almost punched me in my face when I told you, like, you know, I'm deep into AI. But
We was going back and forth on that.
but here go the game. Okay, so there's AI and then there's IA. IA is me, intelligent alpha. That's what we all are. Like, we're the source of everything. So at the end of the day, to my 12-year-old niece, arriving today is a new way that the future will do music. There's a new way that the filmmakers will make film, right? There will always be bad actors in a room, because within everything, like when the computer wave was going on, there was bad actors. When we was going from no more physical records to digital and then to streams, we always gonna have bad actors. I think that our responsibility as the human is to never lose our soul, right? Because the only thing that the machine will not be able to duplicate is your soul. So inside, when I have like my niece and everything, she does everything with her computer. But when I'm sitting there and she's like, yo, Unc, could you grab that guitar and play something? That physicality of the human, you can't replace that.
Yeah.
So you're not you are using AI as a tool, but not scared about it replacing the human creative spirit.
Well, I'm using it as a tool because how is music created, right? Y'all see the final product, but if I bring y'all into my studio, y'all gonna be like, oh, this look like Star Trek, right? There's a lot of equipment, and the equipment is called hardware. Then the hardware get converted into software. You know, my DJ friends, we used to carry like 10,000 crates, and then it gets converted into the computer. So at the end of the day, you use AI as a tool. I teach my students, I am the master of AI. AI is not the master of I. Therefore, I am I. So it has to be your slave, right? The problem is if you become the slave of the robot, then it's over for you.
Yeah, I know we got to go, but I got to just ask you one question. As a fan of rap and a lover of rap, I see all these headlines about rap being dead or dying. I hear some of the newer artists today, and I'm like, oh, not like it used to be. Wyclef, as a legend of the field, do you feel positively or negatively about the current state of rap?
I got 7 albums coming out, starting in April all the way to October. I think that rap is part of hip hop, and hip hop, the culture, is only getting stronger and stronger all around the world.
Okay.
And I believe in the future, I'm gonna do my part, and I'm very excited about some of the future young artists that are coming out. You know, we just got to make sure that they get that space. The algorithm can't keep pushing one form of hip hop in America, right? We need that multiple, because hip hop in France is sounding like it sounded in the 90s, right? What we're pushing here is the algorithms are just more towards one thing, and we have to go back to that eclectic vibe.
Well, and the eclectic, and not just that. It's like I watch, and I have this theory. I think that like every rapper of note in America right now, the boys aren't having fun.
Are y'all ready? Watch this. I'm gonna get to 21. I'm the one. I know what y'all thinking, me too. In my game of numbers, they could only be a few. I am the Trinity. Guess the riddle, kids. One man on 2 sticks. What's that? The crucifix. At least that's what they taught me in Sunday school. Forgive my foes. 5s pointed at Pinocchio's nose. Skip to 6, go to 7. That's the number of completion. Adam ate the apple, so they cast him from the Garden of Eden. Jealousy got him waving his 9. Cain kills Abel. He a 10 man, you know. His heart pumps oil. 2 1s ain't enough to make it rain. Microphone check 1 2. Rap lives in my vein. I'm from the era dudes scrap with their hands. Play Friday the 13th, get Cobra Clutch or Body Slam. But my nephews, they don't use their hands. It's M14s, M15s, guns and roses pointed at your sweet 16. I was born on October 17. That's the day they killed my leader, Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And my mama told me there's monsters under my bed. They 18. Think Malcolm X, the 19th hour by any means. 2020 vision. They say the good die young. I am the master of AI. AI is not the master of I. I did this freestyle to show you how I made it past 21.
Yes.
All right, man.
Yes.
That's it. Sam Sanders.
Justin Richmond.
Wyclef Jean.
Wyclef Jean. Oh my God.
Thanks for checking out Broken Record on YouTube. If you want to listen to us on the go, be sure to subscribe to Broken Record wherever you listen to podcasts.